Spider-Man 3. I almost think this movie should be called Spider-Man 3 Into the Fan Service Universe, because that's essentially what we're getting. Everything that we've ever wanted to see in a Spider-Man movie is culminating in this upcoming movie. It's almost like they're blowing their load. Actually, I shouldn't say blowing their load. I should say shooting their web. That sounds better. Yeah. In this new Spider-Man movie. I mean, you're bringing back, supposedly, multiple different Spider-Mans. You're bringing back Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire. You're going to have 15 villains in this movie at some point. Willem Dafoe is supposedly coming back to play the Green Goblin again. I'm excited. It almost felt like this would take 3 or 4 movies to get to, but no, they're like, you know what? We don't need any of that. Let's just make the movie everyone wants to see. And this is something I never thought we would see. So good on Disney / Sony and this upcoming Spider-Man movie, which could probably be the best Spider-Man movie ever made. I mean, it's basically just combining every single Spider-Man movie ever made into one, and then continuing that story. But yeah, we're getting that live action Into the Spider-Verse. And I think if it wasn't for the success of the animated Spider-Verse film a few years ago, this might not have happened. But they saw that people liked it. It was successful. It was critically praised. And they're like, you know what? Let's just make a live action version of that. And for that, I say, awesome. But the things specifically I wanted to talk about with that movie, or this upcoming movie, is the villains. Now, some of the past Spider-Man villains, like Electro, played by Jamie Foxx, and I love me some Jamie Foxx, Django Unchained for life, man. But I like that they're bringing back these characters that might not have been represented the best the first time around. Essentially, for me, Electro in the Spider-Man movies was like Mr. Freeze in the Batman movies. Just corny, hokey bullshit that was terribly executed. But I still have a cold place deep down in my heart for Mr. Freeze. But I like that they're almost getting a second chance to get some of these villains right without having to go through the origin story again. And since it's a multiverse, we can have that different version of Electro from another universe show up in this new Spider-Man movie, and maybe this new version is a better version, or at least I hope he is. Maybe he's not blue and saying shitty one-liners. Spider-Man, it's my birthday. Want to blow up my candles? Yeah, no more of that. But also, continue on, going from there though, if you bring back Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, he no longer has to be the Green Goblin from the early 2000s Spider-Man movie that's wearing a Power Rangers suit. No, he can actually be the actual Green Goblin from the comics. He can be disfigured and green, and you can put prosthetics on Willem Dafoe and have a true representation of what the Green Goblin truly should be. Not just some guy in a suit flying around on a glider. The itsy bitsy spider. So I think with the multiverse going into this movie, it could be awesome. Like, those are just my hopes, my dreams, my fantasies. And there's also talk, once again, they might bring back Paul Giamatti as the Rhino. Now, I would say the Rhino is probably by far the worst cinematic Spider-Man villain we've ever seen. I think easily, because the trailer sort of lied to us. You know, we thought we were getting the Rhino, and then we got Paul Giamatti in the robot suit for 13 seconds at the end of the movie. But imagine this. Imagine if it wasn't the mechanical version of the Rhino. We actually got the actual guy in the Rhino suit who looks like a giant rhino. Imagine if you could just manipulate Paul Giamatti to be that version of Rhino. That's what I would like to see. But anyway, yeah, that's probably my number one most anticipated upcoming MCU movie, just because that's like a dream, a fantasy come true.